Welcome to Rebel Without Applause, where we explore the intersection of sports, entertainment, and culture. I'm your host, Maurice Bob, and today we have a very special guest on the line all the way from across the sea. He is a professional basketball player currently playing overseas in Japan. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm welcome to Shannon Shorter. How you doing, brother?
I'm good. How you doing?
Pretty good, pretty good. So how's things going on over there across the way?
It's going really well. We just ran into a 2 week break in our season, so we pick back up next Wednesday, December 2nd. So we just been practicing, getting better. We trying to stay safe, especially with what's going on around the world. But it's an exciting time with my team.
Okay. Well, happy belated Thanksgiving. Hope you were able to celebrate in some kind of fashion over there. How is the pandemic over there compared to the states?
Actually, I had a breakout on my somewhat. Like two of my teammates and my assistant coach out the virus, so we had to go through the protocols as far as getting tested. But as far as like in the country itself, I don't really know like the numbers or the statistics, but I don't think it's as bad as the states because I know my translator would like translate that to us, and they
Uh,
haven't really mentioned too much about the virus. Everybody wears a mask, like it's mandatory wherever your house, and we get tested every so often. So I mean, I'm trusting the process.
well, I know, especially in Asian countries, wearing a mask is already kind of protocol and what they were used to anyway, even before this thing hit. So I know it's a lot easier for them to keep on moving with it.
Yeah. I played this fourth time I mean, Asian country, so I know um, how they move. You know what I mean? And I've seen like them wearing masks like all the time, and it kind of surprised me. Like, why are they wearing masks? And they just wear masks sometimes when they have a little cough. So I know with a whole pandemic going on, they're gonna stay true to what they know what to do.
Yeah, definitely. I'd probably feel a lot safer moving around over there than I would here currently. Um, so
Yeah.
let's get into it. As you know, this show is called Rebel Without Applause, and I like to start things off with something a little fun to kind of get us started. And as you look back on your short life
Okay.
so far, what would you say is your most rebellious moment?
My most who?
Your most rebellious moment?
Most rebellious moment. That's a good question. Short life. Uh, I was just a rebellious kid growing up. I can't really think of just one moment in general, but I was just I was very stubborn and I used to be very disrespectful to like my mom and my parents and my grandparents. And luckily I had a mama that was pretty like stern and pretty disciplined and pretty much from the hood. So she used to put her hands on me and let me know like this ain't the way it's gonna go. So I used to do a lot of things as a kid that would be looked upon as like very positive in a sense. I mean, I guess you could say because of my upbringing, because of what I was seeing around me, whatever case may be, I can't really make an excuse about it. But um, I used to get in a lot of fights. I stayed getting suspended in school. I wanted to join the gang. Just a lot of stuff that immature kids like to do.
Well, you're on the other side of that now, so I'm sure you gained a lot of lessons, going through that. So let's talk a little bit about your journey. Looking back, when did you find out, that you loved basketball and that you could play well enough to make it a career goal?
I mean, I gotta really thank my brother for that. When I was like 7, he's 2 years older than me. He was 9, and I just always wanted to do what he wanted to do, and I'll just always follow him and like tell him and just see what he was doing, and he just picked up a basketball, so I did that as well. And my mama put me in this little YMCA league in A-Leaf, and uh, I was the youngest on my team, but I was playing on my brother's team. So I was playing fifth grade when I was in third grade, and I seen this was probably like my first like competitive type basketball, and I never really trained. I used to play outside, and I did really well, like really well. And from that point on, it just was a passion that I had on the inside of me, a love on the inside of me. So I just continue to work at it. And I really didn't know much about AAU at a young age though. And then I ran into Coach Marlon Lowe when I was in seventh grade at my middle school. He was coaching a team called Team Houston at the time. And he had just put that little nugget in my ear, like, hey, you should, look into joining the AAU team and etc. And I really didn't get on the AAU circuit till my sophomore year of high school. I ran into a man named Keith White, and he pretty much changed my whole perspective on basketball and just taught me just about the fundamentals of the game and just fundamentals of life. And from there, I went to college, and it took off.
So, going through AAU basketball, what was it? What was it about AAU immediately when you joined that was different than how you had viewed basketball before?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I was a sophomore in high school. We was playing 17 under, and you just see the different level of competition from like high school. Basketball. AAU basketball, you getting some teams have like all the best players from locally or from around that state, and you competing against these guys, and you really trying to see where you know when etc. You he can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Oh, okay. I thought you lost me. My AAU coach, he put us in all okay. My AAU coach, he put us in all the like big AAU tournaments like Vegas, Kingwood Classic. We went to North Carolina Bob Gibbons tournament. So we was being showcased with some of the best teams in the country. So he put us in position to be seen by some of the top coaches around the world and some of the highest ranking websites and etc. So uh, it was just an experience that you really can't take back because you get the opportunity to play against some of these guys that's going to be in the NBA at a young age, and you don't even know it at that time. So it's definitely a blessing.
So did that raise your level of confidence going out against those type of guys and holding your own?
Yeah, for sure. But what really raised my level of confidence when I was in high school and I started working out with John Lucas, and
Okay.
he just used to match me up with like NBA guys, high end college players. When you put in that
Wow.
fire like that, either it's gonna make you or it's gonna break. And he gonna tell you gotta come back with full fur and clothing, and you just gotta really go out there and compete at a high level. And I feel like those workouts were some of the best workouts that really just fine tuned my game and just taught me how to become more of a killer in a sense.
Well, John Lucas has had his hand on a lot of great players over the years. How did you come to meet him and start working with him?
First time I met him was my freshman year in high school when I was on varsity. We was playing against his son Jay Lucas at Bel Air. I had a really good game. And obviously, you know about John Lucas. Everybody know about John Lucas, his story, and number one draft pick, and etc. So after the game, he spoke to me, and I was just like, "Oh my gosh, like this John Lucas," you know what I mean? So, and he we just built a relationship from there. And then my college coach, my freshman year before I went to that school, the summer I was at home the whole summer. He called up Coach Lucas, and Coach Lucas called me and told me to come to the workouts. And then what 12 years later we still active.
Nice. So, walk me through. So you come to the end of your high school career. What was that like? Did you get to a point where you were ranked in the nation, and how did it go with getting to college or choosing a college?
I was never ranked in the nation. I was ranked in the state. I was like top 15 in the state, top 10 in Houston. Um, So but I did have a lot of scholarships because the summer going into my senior year when we had the live period on the circuit, I had a really good live period.
Okay.
And like a really good live period. So my name started like, spreading around the nation, and a lot of coaches started to come see me. And we're a really good team. So we had a name. So we was a team that coaches like to watch. And so my whole idea was to go to Wichita State coming out of college. So I went on my official visit this when Coach Turgeon was at Wichita State. And go on my official visit, he basically told me he wanted me to go to prep school. This was so new to me because he was like, he didn't have enough, I guess, scholarships. He brought 4 of us on an official visit, but he only had 3 scholarships to offer, and he wanted me to go to a prep school, and I just wasn't feeling that at the time. So then my sights shifted to they stayed on Wichita State because that's when Coach Turgeon went to Texas A&M and Coach Marshall came into Wichita State. He came to visit me at my high school my senior year to watch me work out. He was just doing his due diligence, though. He didn't really know me. He never recruited me, but he heard about me. So he just was doing his due diligence. And then, again, Coach Lucas, he knew a guy named Perry Clark at Texas A&M Corpus Christi. And he reached out to me and my family. We went on an unofficial visit. And then I committed to that school, signed, and I went to A&M Corpus Christi my freshman year.
So how did that year go? And what was what was that first year like, and getting acclimated to playing college ball?
It started out really well, actually, like phenomenal. We went to Canada for like a little preseason tournament. I was doing really well, playing really well. I was starting point guard in the second, and then we come back from the trip, and when we get back to our first day of practice, I'm coming off the bench. I didn't understand it. I didn't understand why. I didn't know. And then, like, as the season went on, I just stopped playing, right? Wasn't playing. And so after the season, I was just thinking to myself, like, okay, I'm just going to work hard. I'm going to get better, and et cetera. And we have our end of the year meeting. He come and pick me up in his car. We go for a ride. And he pretty much bring up a release. He tell me, like, hey, if you want me to help you with your release, I'll help facilitate that for you. And I'm taken aback. I'm surprised by this because it's like, okay, I didn't even bring this up. Like, so obviously this the route you want to take, though, if you putting this in the atmosphere, And after that, I was in a little bit of a dark place because I had never faced that kind of adversity. And just to have him, come after me that hard prior to knowing they wasn't even on my radar, and then have it end like that just really just took a hit on me, like, mentally. And after that, I ended up going to Paris Junior College in Paris, Texas, playing for a coach named Ross Hodge. He's probably one of the best coaches I ever played for. We had a really good team. It was me. We had Jonathan Simmons. We had a cat named Kenny Gabriel that's playing EuroLeague basketball right now, and we had a lot of other players that went D1 too. And we was number 4 in the nation, and we had a really good team. And we won the conference championship, but we lost in like the conference tourney in the finals to go to like the national tourney. And that loss still irks me to this day. We lost in double overtime by 3. It was a tough loss. And then I ended up going to North Texas. And at North Texas, I won a conference championship, and had some success at the University of North Texas.
Wow. So, when you said you went to that dark place, what got you out of that? What did you learn from that experience, especially when you didn't even get to have a conversation like, hey, why didn't I play? He just threw out there, well, let's let you transfer. Like, what did you learn?
Right.
What was the biggest takeaway from that, and how did you pull yourself out of that negative space to get back to what you know?
I learned at a young age that, like, basketball is a business, and a coach got to do whatever he got to do to keep his job. You know what I mean? Like, y'all can have a certain type of relationship. Y'all can be, on the same accord and, have good dialogue, etc. But if his welfare is at stake, he gonna do what's best for him. I learned that you can't make this was a life lesson as well, as far as, like, you can't make emotional decisions. You know, you got to really sit still in your thoughts and really get back to the principles and the morals about who you are, and just realize, like, okay, um, just all about perspective. Like, okay, you got to look at the situation. Okay, what could you have done better before pointing a finger at somebody else? You know what I mean? Like, I can easily blame him for, okay, you released me, you did this, but at the end of the day, Shannon, you didn't perform at the level you could have performed at. So he had to make a decision, you know? So it just taught me to just be honest and true with myself, and real with myself about just any situation in life, looking at yourself first before you look at the world, in a sense. And I just really started to, like, I went home after that. I came home and I had a long talk with Coach Lucas, and he pretty much just, spoke some words of encouragement in me and told me, look, you just got to get in the gym. Pretty much let your work do the talking. And I was grinding that whole summer like 3 times a day with him, and I really just started to read a lot more, like, just to get the mental space, sharpened and etc. And I like to read the Bible a lot, and one of the verses in the Bible that really stood out to me was in the book of Ecclesiastes. It says, "In the day of prosperity, rejoice; in the day of adversity, consider the Lord has made the one and the other." So, like, basically saying, like, you gonna have your highs, you gonna have your lows. Don't get discombobulated, because God produced the good and the bad in your life. You know what I mean? And it's always gonna come back around. And so that's pretty much what I did, was really just lock in on my mental, became more aware about who I am as a man and what I couldn't do to fix situations in my life, rather than pointing a finger at somebody else, not making excuses. And I just got in the gym and worked.
That's what it all comes down to, that work. When you put in that work, it really does yield some dividends. So, after your long journey, you found yourself in North Texas. And how did your career in North Texas,
Right.
culminate and end? Did you feel like you had the best career you could have had in North Texas? Or walk me through your North Texas experience.
Not at all. Like, um, obviously we won the championship. Obviously, I had a big reason. I had a big part in winning the championship on the team, etc. But I had a coach. I wouldn't say he didn't believe in me, but it goes back to, okay, I'm trying to do what's best for the team. You know what I mean? And I need to do this because obviously my job's at stake if we lose games. You know what I mean? So when I first got to North Texas, I wasn't starting. Probably like 10 games in, I began to start. We went on like a 17-game winning streak, conference championship, went to the NCAA tournament, and etc. But at the same time, I had a coach that used to tell me, like, if you shoot the ball, you coming out the game. Like,
Wow.
you sitting on the bench. He used to tell me, like, pretty much you just in the game just to play defense, right? And it's just like, my whole thought process was like, okay, why did you bring me here? You know what I'm saying? Like, if you just finna, like, put me in this certain shell to where, like, I can't, like, I'm working all summer just to be able not to shoot the ball in the game. Like, that just didn't make sense to me. But the love of the game I had, the passion I had for the game, I was like, okay, I'm gonna do whatever I can just to stay on the court. You know what I mean? And I got Defensive Player of the Year 2 times in a row. And but I feel like I had so much more to give. But I was one of them players at the time that, like, because of the words he instilled in my mind, like, if I made a mistake, I'd look over my shoulder. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? And just, like, wouldn't play to my full potential because of what's going on around me rather than playing off instinct. So obviously I had success in North Texas. I'm still loved at North Texas. I had other players on the team who made, like, first team all conference and etc. And this is no shade to them or anything like that. Don't get it wrong. I'm not disrespecting them, but I'm the only one that's playing professional basketball now. So yeah.
Yeah, that says a lot. And it makes a difference who is supporting you, who is, telling you the right or wrong thing and trying to, help guide you, because they could lead you astray. and lead you down the
Mm-hmm.
wrong path. And the next thing you know, you're way further away from what you were trying to do than you were to start with. So it shows a
Mm-hmm.
lot that you were able to navigate that and still, come out to where you were. So you went into 2011, you went undrafted. Talk about your
Mm-hmm.
space and then like what you decided from that point, and and how you got to the point where you were playing pro ball.
Man, that um, felt like forever, right? So I graduate, I go undrafted. I heard I was gonna get drafted to the G League. That fell through. So it was a year and a half after I graduated from school until I got my first pro contract, right? So during that year and a half, it was a lot of tension in my household. My mom had lost her job. My brother, they had cut his hours at his job, and he had just had my niece. So it was a lot of tension that wasn't even like on the surface. It was more so like a mental type. Okay, we in a very bad place right now. You know what I mean? And so I would just remove myself from the household just by training every day. I'm working out 5 times a day with Coach Lucas, with Keith White, and even Byron Smith. He trained me a little bit as well. And I would just get my mind off it by just going to the gym. I didn't have an agent. I had an agent, but he wasn't really doing anything for me beneficial. Like I would talk to him once, like every other month. And it was to a point where it was like, okay, I don't even know if you want to even have this partnership. So I basically released myself from that deal, from that contract with the agent, and like it got so bad. I used to have to um like sleep in my car after workouts. Used to have to sleep in the gym sometime after workout because I had to kind of like ask myself, okay, do you want to go all the way back home, waste gas, not be able to come back to the workout, or do you just want to continuously work? You know what I mean? And I didn't have no money to my name, and I ran into a guy named Kerry Carter who he owned a parking lot right across the street from Minute Maid Park, and he said, look, if you want to make a few dollars, you can come out here. You can just park these cars for me during baseball season, whatever, and I'll give you $50 a day. So I was like, oh yeah, for sure. Like I was broke. My mom, she was stressed. You know, there's a lot going on. So I used to park cars, whatever. This on the back end of a year and a half. So this like a year and some change in before, the contract finally comes. So my mom, she started stressing, saying, okay, you probably need to start um, looking into doing something with your degree. And I don't think she was like lacking confidence in me or anything like that. She was just being realistic in that moment with what was going on and how things was looking. You know what I'm saying? And just being a mother at the same time, trying to nurture me and tell me like, look, it may not work out for you. Sometimes life don't go the way we expect it to go. Sometimes it don't go the way we would like it to go. So, but you still do have a degree to your name, so you put that to use. And so I was still working on a lot, whatever. I did that probably for like a month and a half, and then one of my good friends, Steve Walden, called me and was like, "Look, I'm taking the travel team to Mexico, and um, um, it'll be a good opportunity for you to come showcase yourself in front of these teams and etc." I wasn't really feeling it. 'Cause one, I'm a year and a half in. Two, I got a lot of no's throughout that process. Three, I'm just like, it just wasn't. I just wasn't feeling it. So this was like on a Monday. He called me. He said, "We leaving this weekend. I'm gonna call you again Friday." He called me again that Friday and was like, "Look, we leaving tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. What you gonna do?" I'm like, "I go, right?" I said, "What do you have to lose? Just take that. Just go. See what can come out of this opportunity." So we drive to Mexico. It was like a 7 hour drive, whatever the case. I can't remember. And then we played the team that just won the championship the season prior, right? And I had like 35 points. Right after the game, the GM of the team come up to me. The GM of the team come up to me, ask for my information. I give him my name, I give him my email, whatever. I don't really think too much of it because it just is what it is. Like I didn't already had, like again, when your mind is trained to like receive a no, it's like that's where your mental mind space is. So I'm already in the process of like, ain't nothing gonna come out of this because of everything that happened prior to me, you know. And Like 3 days later, he called me. The GM called me, was like, "Hey, I have a team for you. When can you leave?" And I was like, "I can leave yesterday, right?" So probably about 4 or 5 days. Yeah, absolutely. So about 4 or 5 days go by, and I don't hear nothing from him. So I call him. It's a Friday night. It's like 12:30 at night, and he was like, "Hey, brother, I was just about to call you. I got your ticket. I'm shooting it to your email right now." So it's like 12:30, 1 a.m. and I flight at 5 a.m. Right? So I tell my mama, she don't believe me, right? She don't believe me. So I go in my room, start packing my bags, whatever, and she coming there like, "Oh, you really leaving?" And I was like, "Yeah, mama, like we on now, right?" So we go to the airport. Obviously, she get emotional, you know what I mean? And I'm like, "Mama, look, this the opportunity I've been praying for. Like, it ain't no turning back." So I go to Mexico. I signed $3,000, right? That team, I played 2 games with that team. That team traded me to the worst team in the league, right? And then that team trade me to another team. So it's like an humbling experience getting traded from like the worst team in the league to another team. You know what I'm saying? Like, so how you get that's like getting traded from like who was the worst team in the league this year? Uh Minnesota Timberwolves, right? Getting traded from them to another team that's in the league, and it's like how you get traded from them, right? You know what I'm saying? And so the final team I was on, so my first like 2 weeks in Mexico, I'm just on the bus, on the train, traveling, like not knowing nothing, just trying to figure out what's going on. And no, throughout this whole process, I don't have an agent, right? So I finally get to my destination in Mexico City, and I'm walking through the bus station, and the coach see me. You know, he have a sign up, Shannon Shorter, whatever. He walk up on me. He's like, "You Shorter?" I say, "Yeah." He said, "Okay, you on my team." So the next day we have a meeting in his office. He's like, "Look, I don't got that much money to give you. I don't, but I'm gonna put the ball in your hands. I'm gonna give you the opportunity, right?" Um, Team wasn't like great. We won more games than we thought we would. I led the league in scoring at like 28 points. You know, like 7 boards, like 5 assists, and I always look back on the opportunity because it's like, and I tell young guys all the time, like it ain't about the money, right? The money gonna come if you do what you're supposed to do. You know what I mean? It's about the opportunity and like being grateful in that situation. Like I could have looked at the opportunity and been like, "Man, I'm gonna get $500. Like what I'm gonna do?" Feeling sorry for myself, but the gratitude I had for the opportunity because I knew where I came from. I knew the situations I was in. I knew when I was sleeping in the gym, sleeping in my car, I was praying for this one opportunity. You know, opportunity, and I was training 4 and 5 times a day. You know what I mean? So I was, um, um, pretty much, I was over ready for this opportunity, like mentally, physically. So when I hit that, when we started playing, I hit the ground running. First game, 46 points. You know what I mean? And then um, at the time, my mom still wasn't working, so I would send her like $350. I give my tithes to the church, so I was really like moving on like $100 a month. But it taught me valuable lessons in how to save and how to be smart with your finances. And then from that situation, I went to Argentina, made 15,000 for like 2 months, and then 9 years later, I'm in Japan. I've been all over the world, 6 figures up, and I got to thank God.
Nice. So you took a really unconventional path to get to, where you are. Um, and it seems like, just from the outside looking in, the whole world of overseas sports in general, but overseas basketball to be sure, seems very, um, you know, it's very uncharted territory for a lot of us, just general fans. We're a fan of the NBA, obviously, but we don't know a whole lot about overseas basketball. Are there like just like certain agents who only deal with overseas opportunities? How do you come to be found by an interested party or interested team? And is it such to the point now where you can have a completely um, I guess financially stable or financially satisfying career only playing overseas?
No, it's not to that point. Like obviously, the goal is the NBA for sure. I probably have like a slim window, um, but To answer your question, it is certain agents that only work overseas, and it's agents that work in the NBA and overseas.
Okay.
And I met my agent through one of my teammates when I was in South America. I didn't have an agent for like my first 3, 4 jobs. You know what I mean? I was just doing it just off the strength of my name and what I was doing in those leagues and etc. And then when I was in Ecuador playing, I had a teammate who said, "Yo, my agent been following you for a little bit, and he'd like to have a conversation with you." I'm like, "All right, cool. Like, if I want to get to the level I want to get to, obviously I need an agent. I'm not gonna be able to do this on my own. I'm kind of uneducated in the sense of what it entails, the details of a contract and how do you present yourself and etc. So I had a conversation with him. It goes really well. I shoot some film. He the one who got me to Europe, and we still together 9 years later.
So, if you had to break it down, like, as far as differences, what would you say are the major differences between basketball played in Europe specifically and, American basketball?
Um, the number one difference I feel like it depends on like what team you on in Europe, but like a lot of times if you get injured, the treatment isn't as on point as it is in the States. You have the top doctors in the world working with NBA teams and etc. overseas. You know, the sometimes the trainer doesn't even know what to do when you get injured. You know what I mean? So it's like a risk reward type of thing. The money's guaranteed to a certain degree. Like they can cut you at any time, and then they'll try to come to an agreement with you. You know what I mean? And then, but as far as like basketball on the court, I feel like it's more mental than like raw talent and physical abilities because they're like so skilled and unathletic at times that like they got to use their mind more than what they can do. You know what I mean? So it's more of a skill set and more of a like how can I be um, um, beneficial in these situations in the game? And they play at a certain pace. They don't miss open threes, and it's pretty, it's pretty good actually. I can't front.
So it's not like a whole bunch of people jump out of the gym, but like you said, nobody's gonna miss an open three. They're gonna have their fundamentals straight, and people can probably run an offense like
Absolutely
that
right
makes
because they.
sense.
I'm not saying they don't go to school. They do go to school, but they have like club teams. You know what I mean? And they pretty much like homegrown, and they train with these teams like 7 till they get older and become a pro. You know what I mean? And I mean, look at Luka Doncic. Like he probably one of the best players in the world right now, and he came from overseas, and he's not crazy athletic, not the fastest, but his skill set is like off the charts. So, and his mind, his mental.
Yeah, I mean, looking back, I can't believe he didn't go number one. That dude has some serious skills, and it's all like you said, mental. He's not the fastest, can't jump the highest, but he just knows how to play.
Yeah, absolutely.
That'll get you far in this game. Uh, so you've played in multiple, I guess, leagues, teams, things like that. What have you learned the most about your game and you as a player over this span of time?
My game has drastically changed from like Mexico to now, in the sense of like um, just the pace you have to play at to like you're not always gonna be the fastest, you're not always gonna be the quickest, you're not always gonna be the most athletic, but I feel like pace and how you move and flow through a game that is for you. You know what I mean? And I just learned how to be a better leader. Just being in situations where I had to, you being the best player, quote unquote, on the team, you have to like have a voice, so to speak, and your teammates are looking at you. And I learned how to make adjustments throughout the season, which is kind of because coming into this pro stuff, I was really just like focused on scoring and like just running it up on the scoreboard, right? Now I'm more so in a sense of like, okay, I want to impact the game in a variety of ways. Sometimes your shot may not be falling, so what else can you do to impact the game, right? And that's where the defense, that's where the rebounding, that's where the scoring. What can you do? And now that's why you see me myself. I have triple doubles one game. I have probably 12 points, but I have 10 assists and like 9 boards a game. You know what I mean? So it's like just the different ways I attack the game now. I'm more versatile. So it's not like a one dimensional, like, oh, I got to get this bucket. Nah, like, as many ways you can impact the game, as many ways you can win a game. So that's my mind is when I'm playing the game.
So what about you as a person off the court? Obviously you've had to be in these different countries and different locations worldwide. What has that experience been like for you, and how have you applied those lessons, as you go forward?
Right. I mean, I think one of the most valuable lessons I learned was when I was in Lebanon, and all my teammates outside of practice, they either had one or two other businesses off on top of what they was making on the basketball court, right? And that like really planted the seed in me, like, okay, your focus can't just really be all about basketball. You still got to have other avenues that spark your interest, because basketball not gonna be here this your whole life. You know what I mean? You may be around it, you may, be a coach, trainer, whatever the case may be, but you're not gonna be able to play, make a certain income your whole life. You know what I mean? And I like to be adventurous when I'm overseas. I like to get out and just, sightsee, because I feel like these are opportunities that you probably won't ever get back. I've been a lot of places that really have like a lot of history behind it, like Israel, the Holy Land, Turkey, Greece, even Australia. So it's a lot of history in these places that I've been. So I definitely like to sightsee. And just the perspective of the culture. Like, me coming from where I come from, my mindset is different from obviously when I'm coming into a new situation, coming into a new country. Like, their whole culture is totally different, and like me being in Japan right now, they take off their shoes any building. Any building. It's a sign of respect. And I mean, I just think you can learn a lot just by like paying attention when you're in different environments.
Is it hard to leave your Jordans at the front door in, in Japan?
Nah, not at all. Not at all. Japan is a very clean country, and the people are like very nice. Like, hospitality over here is like at like a high rate. You know what I mean? In the States, sometimes people like, you can just, hey, I was just trying to speak to you, see how your day was going, and over here it's like, hey, how you doing? They walk up on you, speak to you, and keep it going. Don't want nothing from you.
That's definitely different there. Has it been, tough for you, away from the States for a long time, and like, having to kind of juggle your homesickness with, what you have to do as far as, playing and everything?
Yeah, most definitely. Initially, most definitely. Like, my first couple of years, I used to get homesick a lot. You know what I mean? But 9 years in, I think you just kind of adjust to it, and you just realize like it's all a part of what you got to do. And I think like anytime you want to be successful, anytime you have goals, you got to make sacrifices. So these some of the sacrifices I got to make.
So is the onus on you as the player to get your own place in these places, or do they provide these places for you? Like, how does that work out?
Yeah, the team provide everything. It's in your contract. They'll provide you with a car, apartment. You really just got to provide like groceries for yourself,
Okay.
and just like the stuff within the house. But everything else, it comes fully furnished. You're not paying for anything except for like food, and that's pretty much it. Truthfully.
That seems like one of those little details that would make it tough for you. Like, say, for instance, you had to sign real quick with a team in Lebanon, like, for instance. you wouldn't know how to find a place there to live or where that you
Hmm.
should live or whatever else. So it does make sense that they
Right.
would have that lined up for you, so you can just come in and focus on basketball. Um,
Yeah, that's
so
definitely one of the
you
key
mentioned,
points in the contract.
okay. Well, that's smart that they did that. So you mentioned earlier about the dream is still to play in the NBA. What has been your, I guess, plan of attack to try and make that happen? And would you be okay if that didn't happen?
Plan of attack is I just got to get in front of like um, the people that's making decisions. You know what I mean? Like Lucas, he's invited me to like Rockets workouts to work out with the Rockets in the summer and just train with them guys a little bit, and I've showcased myself for sure. But it can be political too as well, though. You know, and I just got to get in front of those guys that's making decisions and just get on my agent, stay on my agent about it. Like, look, like I just need one opportunity, a training camp invite, summer league, whatever the case may be. Just put me in a position where I can showcase my talent in front of people that's gonna make these decisions. And we've been having dialogue about it. And yeah, I'd be perfectly fine if it didn't work out. Like that just means it wasn't meant for me. Um, I wouldn't be sad about it. I still make a good living overseas. I'm still able to accomplish a lot of things I want to accomplish in my community and with my family. So I'll be perfectly fine.
So in that vein, let's just say, for instance, that you don't make it to the NBA. How many more years do you feel like you have in you to play, and what are your plans? For after. Do you feel like you want to go into coaching, scouting, those types of things?
Nah, I never really wanted to be a coach. I just really wanted to. I have a foundation, and I do a lot of stuff in the community in Houston. So I'm definitely wanting to build the foundation a little bit more. But I want to be an ESPN analyst. I went to school. I got my degree in communications. Um, I feel like I get a lot of like love. I get a lot of joy out of watching like people debate sports. And Stephen A. Smith is like somebody I really look up to as far as like being a pioneer for the black community as far as like how far you can take it in a public speaking field, you know. And that's been my mindset. Just want to be an ESPN analyst and just building my foundation, making it more like a worldwide, countrywide type thing rather than just a Houston thing.
Wow. Well, um, like I say, why wait? You live a very interesting life now. You
Hmm.
should start some kind of blog or something like that to kind of detail your daily life, or you can do it weekly, monthly. But a lot of people don't know what you guys
Hmm.
do, go through, and so forth. And that's a way to kind of try it out, put your toe in the water, get comfortable in front of the camera, tell some stories, and you can use that to your advantage when it's time. Because it's a very interesting
Hmm.
uncharted territory. What you guys do over
Nah, it is absolutely. You have a lot of free time. Like you have a lot of time to really sit in your thoughts and really think about what you want to do next. Because you usually only like we practice here at 1:30 and we practice at 11:30. So everything after that and everything before that, okay, what are you doing with your time? So I tend to read a lot. I tend to watch a lot of documentaries. I tend to like just study um like certain people that I want to emulate. Not emulate, but like I view their success as something I can achieve. So I try to like study what they're doing. But I mean, you can get like I know in the Bible it says out of mind is the devil's workshop. So you got to keep your mind like occupied with things that fulfill your purpose, rather than just being in the space of like, okay, what do I do now? You know. And but you have a lot of time, so with all the time, um you can really figure out what it is you want to do post basketball.
So going back to kind of our the headspace in the beginning when we started. If you could go back and talk to your younger self now, especially
Hmm.
that little period between when the coach said, "Hey, I'll let you go to some other school or whatever else." If you could talk to that version of you now, what would you say to that person?
Um, um, I pretty much just say that like I say like be patient. Your time will come. stay true to your morals. And just because you're going through a storm now, a storm don't last forever. So it's always sunshine after a storm. So you may, and your storm may last 1 month, 1 day, 2 days. You don't know how long it's gonna last, but you got to stay consistent in your effort as far as like what you're trying to accomplish. And just realizing that all things work together for the good of those who love God and are called according to His purpose. Knowing that He had His hand over all that, and I had to go through all that, and I had to be in those positions, and I had to experience what I experienced just to be at where I'm at now, because it gives me more of a sense of gratitude and a heart for and a compassion for my people, which is why I feel like if I didn't go through what I went through, I wouldn't have a foundation right now. You know what I mean? So it's like a lot of what I went through really shifted my perspective on kind of like life and just experiences that I've been through, to realize like, look, you probably not the only person that ever went through this. So when you get to this level, when you get to a certain platform, you can be an example. You can be in light to people and let them know, like, look, I was in the same situation you was in. It was nice. I didn't know what I was gonna eat. I was on Spice Lane with 8 of my cousins, figuring out like life. And so if I can be a light and I can be a voice for people who's in a situation, I feel like it'll be a blessing.
Now it's funny how life is very, timely and cyclical. Everything about 90% of what you just said applies to what everybody's going through right now. And how we can use this lesson. This could be a great pause, but also a time to reflect and kind of gather, what means the most to you, what's important to you, and we can come out on the other side the better for it if we allow it to. So it's funny how
absolutely
all these lessons in life are very timely, and we can use them and reuse them to also get better. But man, it's been a huge pleasure having you on. I really thank you for taking some time out from your schedule. I know we're on a very different time zone situation.
Yeah, yes, sir.
But I really appreciate you coming on. And to all the rebels out there, thank you for rocking out with us. And make sure you smash that like button and subscribe to this podcast. We drop new episodes each and every Thursday. You can tap in on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, or wherever else you like to find your favorite podcasts. So for my special guest, Mr. Shannon Shorter, and myself, take every day to learn, grow, and work, because there is no other option. Until next time, please stay rebellious.
Yes, sir. Thank you. God bless. I really appreciate it.